Good evening, class. Welcome to today's lesson. I can see the attendance is quite good, and so I welcome you all to this lesson this evening. And today we are going to follow up on a topic we began the last time we met, and the topic was on food commodities. And so, without further ado, we'll go to the food commodities. I'm sharing my screen shortly with you, so that we can look at the food commodities. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, so we can continue now. And as we learned the last time we met, a food commodity is any commodity derived from an animal or a crop, and it's intended for human consumption in its raw or processed state. And we'll begin by looking at the learning outcomes for today's lesson, which is defining a commodity. And specifically today, we'll look at vegetables. And also, um, we would like to know how to explain the classification of vegetables. And so we'll go right away into the classification. Uh, Vegetables are classified in nine main categories, nine different categories. All the vegetables are classified in nine different categories. And we'll start with the root vegetables. And these are the vegetables that grow under the ground. And these vegetables are mainly vitamin in nature. We'll know why we need to differentiate that later in this lesson. But examples of root vegetables, as you can see on your screen, include the carrots, the parsnips, the turnips, the beetroots, and also another one that may not be very familiar with us that is called the rutabaga. The second category of tuber vegetables, second category of vegetables we have are the tuber vegetables. And these are the vegetables that also grow under the ground. But as I said earlier, here is where we need to get the difference between the tubers and the root vegetables. The tubers are mainly carbohydrate in nature, while the root vegetables are mainly vitamin in nature. And so the examples of the tuber vegetables include potatoes, sweet potatoes, yam, and cassava. But there are also others that we may not be very familiar with because they may not grow in Africa or in Kenya particularly. For example, the Jerusalem artichoke, the jicama, the taro, and others. And so we go to our next category, which are the flower vegetables. These are also known as brassicas, and these are the vegetables that come from the flower part of the plant. And so, just as the same name suggests, and one of the perfect examples of a flower vegetable, as you can see on your screen, is cauliflower. We also have a banana flower, which is mainly not eaten in Kenya as a vegetable, but it is actually edible and it is eaten in many other countries, which it is also a flower vegetable. And other examples of flower vegetables are broccoli, artichoke, and there is also zucchini flower. This one comes from the vegetable we usually call courgette. It's actually called zucchini, and the flower is also edible. Before it actually forms the vegetable we know, the flower is also edible. It's called zucchini flower, and it falls also in this category of brassicas or flower vegetables. Our next category are the leafy vegetables, and as the name suggests, these are the part that is edible in that plant is the leaf, and this includes spinach, baby spinach, kale, and also includes all of the traditional vegetables that we eat here in Kenya. They come under the category of leafy vegetables because the leaf is the edible part that we actually consume. We continue with the categories. The next category we look at are the bulbs. And in this category, we have the onions, the shallots, the spring onions, the fennels, the garlic, and also the leeks. Our next category will be the pods and seeds. You realize that in the bulbs, we have mostly the different types of onions. Those ones are the ones that make up the bulk of the bulb vegetables. Our next category is the pods and seeds category. And these are the vegetables which come as a pod or as a seed in that particular plant in which they grow. And obviously that becomes the beans, specifically the green beans, the peas, sorry, the lima beans. There is also okra, uh, and there's also sweet corn and others. These fall under the category of pods and seeds. We have another category of stems and shoots, the vegetables that in that particular plant, they come in form of stems or in form of shoots. And in this category, we have celery, we have asparagus, we have bean sprouts, we have also others which may not be very familiar with in this country, like chicory and kohlrabi. But as we continue learning, we shall come to know of them better. Um, our next category are the fruiting vegetables. And as the name suggests, that in that particular plant in which they grow, they come as a fruit. And this include the courgette, as we mentioned earlier, the zucchini. We also have in this category cucumber, aubergine, tomatoes, bell peppers, which are the ones that we normally call pili pili hoho. We also have chilies, which is what we call pili pili around here. And also we have the pumpkins. These also fall under the category of fruiting vegetables. Another variety of the pumpkin is the squash. It also falls under the category of fruiting vegetables, among many others. And finally, we have mushrooms and fungi. This is also another category of vegetables. And in this category, mainly we have the mushrooms, the different types of mushrooms like shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, and others. These fall under the category of vegetables called the mushrooms and fungi. And those are the 9 classifications of vegetables that we have. And I know we'll continue to do more with these classifications as we now get into the practical aspect of it. And today, I will give you an assignment that I expect you to discuss the factors to consider when purchasing these vegetables. That when you have gone to the market to purchase your vegetables, what exactly do you look at? Especially when you are not purchasing now for your house, but for an establishment in which maybe you work. Exactly what do you look at? And so that is what I will expect you to have done by the time we meet for the next lesson. I need a comprehensive write-up, not a hurried one, and I expect everyone to have done that work. For today, that will be the end of our lesson. Does anyone have a comment? Does anyone have a question? Yes, class? Anyone with a question? Anyone with a comment? If there is none, uh, I've already checked the register of the attendance. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We'll meet in the next class. God bless you and have a nice evening. Thank you.